Welcome to the channel. My name is Matthias. So, the other day I got a fantastic comment on one of my videos. The comment section in general on some of these is really interesting. So, the video in particular was one about Javier Milei, who's the president of my country. And so, we get the usual suspects that since they think I'm criticizing Javier Milei, they're very aggressive in their commentaries and their opinions. Now, I was critical of Javier Milei in the video, but I did say, look, it does have merit that the country's not a dumpster fire, that he's sort of holding it together, and he's also toning down his rhetoric a little bit. He's a little bit less divisive, or he's more careful when he pulls out that fiery rhetoric and goes full on right wing populist. Now, I find it hilarious that as an insult, these like pro Milei people would just call me lefty, and that's it. or you're a progressive, and that's a pejorative for them. I don't consider myself to be a lefty. I have political views that are on both sides of the political spectrum. I think it's very hard to be just on one side on every issue. I'm socially progressive with some things, and I'm very conservative on others. And in economics, I guess I'm pretty much a centrist. I think having a healthy private sector is very important, but I also think that when you have natural monopolies, the state does have to play an important role there. Now, there is a ton of things that we can get into, but the idea of this video actually is to contrast the differences between Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner and Javier Milei. That was the question that I got below one of these videos. And the thing is that they're both populists. Cristina is a left-wing populist. Javier Milei is a right-wing populist, but they have a lot in common. I consider both of them to be demagogues. They just like saying things that they know that their constituents really want to hear. Respectively, they go very hard on key ideological things that resonate with their bases. Both are very charismatic in their own ways, and they really focus on stirring up people's passions. They both want to get people riled up, and at least from my point of view, that's like playing with fire. And the thing is that now their rhetoric is very divisive, and they always use the tool of the internal other that's trying to ruin society. Now, with Cristina, she went to war with many different factions of Argentine society, but like the most evocative and the one everyone remembers is when she pretty much picked a fight with the agricultural sector of the country. She created this very strong us versus them dynamic, really focusing on that these guys are super rich and they own tons of land. And she wants to implement some policies just to sort of not only, because there's another thing, the way she talked, it felt like she wanted to make them pay. There was more there, not only just to tax these people, she sort of wanted to make them pay. He has defined himself as a anarcho-capitalist and establishes that he hates the existence of the state itself, and all the public employees were basically a bunch of parasites. And in my case, like I'm a public official, like even though he's toned down his rhetoric, like these things really affect us. I work for the Argentine state, and it's really weird. Like literally, my boss doesn't like my existence. And it's very uncomfortable because every once in a while I do interact in my job with people that are very pro Milei, and they feel like they could treat me like shit. It's very bizarre. So we have this situation with Milei that he has pit all of Argentine society against us that were mostly just a bunch of parasites that he's going to deal with waste, fraud, and abuse. So the thing is that with Argentine society, with Milei, we're public enemy number one. I'm going to include myself. And maybe the only thing that maybe unite everyone is that Milei really hates Argentine political class, even though he's part of it now. We have the whole thing very much like Trump, drain the swamp. And the thing is, like, Milei has settled down and he has sort of found his place. I guess he's learning to be a statesman. Like for President, Milei is really young. I think he was like 54, 55, 56 at most. I would have to double check. I'm terrible with numbers. You know, another thing that I forgot to mention about Christina and Milei, especially with Milei, everything feels very performative. And I really love using the term kayfabe. It comes from wrestling. With Milei, it just feels like he's a character. Well, I'm not sure if the character and the person are becoming one and the same. The guy feels way too over the top, and I have a hard time thinking that he's really like that in normal life. So we have these two political figures that really rely and gain a lot of social capital through division, right? And another thing is that both of them always feel like they're on campaign, that it's just they hold these rallies all the time. Now, for policies, like in general, Cristina really wanted like this big government, a ton of social programs. This big government that was omnipresent during the Cristina era was fueled by all the money coming in from the commodities boom of the 2000s, late 2000s. Now, with a big state and who's going to control the state, you had a lot of cooking of the books and them playing fast and loose with the numbers. So there was a lot of corruption and stealing. And Cristina like put in a ton of political operatives into working within the state. And I actually dealt quite a bit with this, that these people would not work. Like they took it as something pretty optional. And I guess like the bad rap that public employees have in Argentina is due to this. These political operatives that get these jobs, they're very well paid. I'm not well paid. They are. And then we have the contrast with Milei, who, again, like obviously he's never going to go through with his anarcho-capitalist points of view. I think it's just something he likes to say because in the real world, it's not possible. So the guy is like very focused on cutting down the state, slimming it down. At first, I really felt that he didn't understand the nature of the state itself. I feel like he's learning more and more. So he is more careful now. Very much like the mantra of Elon and Doge and Trump, waste, fraud, and abuse. Thing is, the guy went crazy. He cut way too many jobs. Some of those jobs were key to very important things, and he did have to backtrack on a couple. Probably the toughest part of the whole situation with Milei is that he does not want to, because we still have inflation, right? And it's very common here to adjust salaries as the year progresses so we don't lose our capacity to be able to buy in the first place. And the salaries have not gone up, or they're going very, very slowly. Like they're going half as fast as the inflation. Now, I do understand economically how salaries do feed into inflation. Like I'm not dumb. But the thing is that our wages are allowing us to buy less and less, and it's really tough to get to the end of the month. Like I mentioned in that other video, I have to hold 2 jobs. And it really didn't help that Milei did devalue our currency. So that was like a real punch in the gut there. And through economic policy, something really weird happened, that like the cost of living in Argentina went up a lot, but now it's cheaper for us to travel abroad, even though the peso isn't worth anything. It's really, really weird. We have like this very odd dynamic now. But I guess like his populist days are not done. Like he really gets a kick out of it. I guess it's an ego thing. Same as Cristina. Like I feel like both of them are tremendous narcissists. Today we are going to have a festival here in my city, a rally actually. Milei is going to be the head of it, where we're going to have a ton of right-wing pundits. Everyone's going to have their speeches. So I would be fascinated to see what Milei has to say there. If he's going to go on and on how much he hates the state and the state that he works for, or if he's proud of what he's doing with the state and he's proud of the Argentine government, it would be fascinating. So we're going to leave this video here. I hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time.